कुमार स्वामी नाइकर गोंगवा लिबू लटोका रेडियो फीजी 2 में पुराना गाना लगे हमें बहुत अच्छा लगे।
रेडियो फीजी 2 देश की धड़कन।
Good evening, Fiji. In this bulletin, new SEDELPA leader plans way forward. PM sets record straight on native land. An education ministry sends replacement staff at QVS.
From the studios of FBC Suva, Jackie Smith.
The new SEDELPA leadership believes the way forward for the party is to focus on issues rather that continuously talk about the disunity among the members. William Ngavoka says there is no denying the fact that unity has always been an issue among SEDELPA members, but yesterday's annual general meeting gave everyone a chance to present their grievances openly. Josai Nanunga has the story.
There were heated exchanges between SEDELPA members as they tried to make their objections known during yesterday's AGM.
The General Secretary and the President opened up the floor to anyone who wanted to express their views. And the gloves were off. At a certain stage of the meeting, the gloves were off. But towards the end of it, we agreed that we are in this together. We have to win in 2022, and unity is the message that we are all taking back to wherever we come from.
Ngavoka adds, moving forward, the party will focus on 3 issues to bring unity among members.
Number 1 is the economic enhancement of the Itoke. Under that umbrella, everyone will benefit. GDP will grow. Everyone will benefit, every community in Fiji. Number 2, free education to tertiary level, everybody in this country. And number 3 is an enhanced, improved health system. Those 3 main issues will be driving the dialogue for SEDELPA in the next couple of months. So we focus on those issues. Factionalism will fall by the wayside.
He believes these issues will be able to attract more party supporters in the lead up to the next election.
Yeah, those are the 3. They're very broad. They can generate dialogue in this country all the way to 2022 and help bring back people believing that this party stands on some very good policies.
Deputy Leader Filimoni Wosorongo is confident the members will be able to put their differences aside and work as a team in time for the election.
I think so. We believe in our ability to pull the strings of this party together. We have 24 months to work on that, and all we can see from today's support towards the end is everybody's commitment, all the 28 constituencies' commitment to ensure that the unity within the party is preserved and that the war that needs to be won is the general election of 2022.
The constituencies have numbers that are sufficient to bring us into parliament. The big ones like Suva and Nasinu will have 4 or 5 more candidates. But for all the constituencies, we will be looking at one to give us that seat.
The 2 leaders want to ensure the right strategies are formed for the party. The deputy leader has emphasized they want to formulate a manifesto which they will convince people to support them in the 2022 general election. Josai Nanunga, FBC News.
Prime Minister Nitauke Land Trust Board Chair Vorenge Bainimarama has hit out at opposition MP Niko Nawaikula, who in a social media post has claimed that the native land is no longer safe. Speaking on the Radio Fiji 1's Nanonda Prime Minister program, Bainimarama says Nawaikula is making a mockery of himself and his opposition counterparts over unverified information that is creating a lot of confusion amongst Fijians. Josai Nanunga once again with this story.
Through this Facebook post on the 7th of this month, Niko Nawaikula is warning Fijians about the government interference in the affairs of the Itoke Land Trust Board and the Lau Provincial Council. However, the Prime Minister has clarified the Provincial Council meeting was not held in October and assured Fijians that every piece of land they own is safe.
In my capacity as the chair of TLTB, I want to inform landowners to rest assured that all native land is protected in our villages, clans in particular, under the 2013 Constitution. This is always part of the agenda when TLTB officers conduct awareness in communities and provincial council meetings. That's nothing has been changed regarding land protection.
The Prime Minister says misleading social media posts coming from a Member of Parliament will not enhance nation building and development. He reaffirms that the profile of all freehold and crown land owners in the country is safeguarded under the 1970, 1990, 1997 and 2013 constitutions.
TLTB board members consist of 5 experienced personnel who are well versed with the operations of the entity. These 5 board members were stringently selected and based on the public's belief. That's why we have abolished the GCC, because there is no need to have a representative from the council to oversee land affairs.
Now, Waikula claims that the financial status of various land institutions is in limbo. Bainimarama says all financial transactions and financial reports of the TLTB as well as the Itoke Lands and Fisheries Commission is up to date. Chosa Yenanunga, FBC News.
The 4 staff, including the acting head of Queen Victoria School in Tailevu, who was suspended following allegations of child abuse, have been replaced. The teachers were suspended after 4 students were allegedly stripped naked and had chili rubbed on their mouths and private parts. It's alleged this was punishment directed by an assistant principal after the students took leave without permission. Kritika Kumar reports the ministry has replaced the staff to ensure that learning is not affected.
The Education Minister says any form of abuse against children will not be condoned.
I've said it on numerous occasions, personally and as a minister. Ministry of Education has policies where such behavior is not tolerated. So we will neither tolerate it nor condone it. And I hope this serves as a warning to the teachers out there.
Akbar says the ministry is in the process of developing a parent engagement policy.
There are various mechanisms as to how they can address students' discipline issues. And one of that is engaging parents more. So I might as well say it now. We are in the process of developing a parental engagement policy, which holds parents more responsible for the actions and behavior of the children.
The minister has also reaffirmed there is no room in her ministry for any teacher or school head who abuse students.
So if we have teachers behaving like that, it's my personal belief that we don't need such teachers. Teachers are adults. And we have our own internal disciplinary procedures, which they are very well aware of.
The Fiji Police Force has confirmed that they received complaints against 2 teachers only and they have been questioned. Spokesperson Ananai Soro also says 4 students were initially reported as victims. However, only 2 cooperated with them. The investigation file will now be submitted to the Director Criminal Investigations Department for further guidance. Kritika Kumar, FBC News.
Dealing with victims of domestic violence at workplaces has been one of the major challenges for human resources personnel. This was confirmed by the Fiji Human Resources Institute President Kameli Mbatiweti, who highlighted that domestic violence cases continue to rise in the country. Vinina Rakautonga reports the institute is now looking at ways to help its members address the issue.
Domestic violence needs to be addressed immediately as it also affects workplace productivity.
How do you address? First, how do you recognize the signs of the victims? And so Mr. Nadola talked about presentism. That's one of the outcomes of domestic violence. And so the employee is at work, but not there. So productivity is affected.
FHRI member Ronald Reddy says this is a sensitive issue that needs to be directed in a professional way.
Women would not want to speak about it. Now, how do we deal with it? We also want to deal with it in a confidential way. So HR professions are using respective managers, officers around the workplace who can associate and link with these people.
The institute aims to create mental health champions who are able to detect and address issues surrounding violence.
We may not reach out to all the companies, but we are trying our best to address that issue going forward. That has to be a paradigm shift in our country.
From January to October, the Fiji Women's Crisis Center received 751 reports of domestic violence. Benina Rakautonga, FBC News.
Up ahead, training aims to upskill weather forecasters. And Topper Scholarship available only for studies locally.
मैं टोटली दिल्ली में रहता हूँ और रेडियो फीजी रोज सुनता हूँ.
रेडियो फीजी 2 देश की धड़कन.
The Fiji Met Services is now training its officers to move away from the traditional ways of predicting weather to impact-based forecasting. Director Terry Atalifo says this is being done as Fiji is expecting at least one severe tropical cyclone this season, which will likely be Category 3 or above. Kritika Kumar reports.
Fijians should always keep themselves updated with the latest weather reports, as Fiji Met is working on reducing the loss of lives and livelihoods during tropical cyclones.
For this season, we're anticipating 1 to 3 cyclones for Fiji. Out of the 3, we also expect at least 1 to be a severe cyclone. Yes, those are our predictions, and we hope we can reduce loss of lives and livelihoods.
Atalifo says the Met Office is fully geared up for the cyclone season and are working closely with the National Disaster Management Office.
We make sure that our operations that everything is running, functioning well, so that we can withstand. So our equipments can withstand when cyclones passes through Fiji.
The United Nations Resident Coordinator Sanaka Samarasina says they are working on ensuring that telecommunication infrastructure is in place.
If it were to be damaged or destroyed, what kind of emergency communication measures can be put in place? So those things are currently under discussion, but we hope to have plans within weeks, not months.
Fiji Met has also signed a memorandum of understanding with the Ministry of Health, Waterways and Environment and the Sugar Research Institute of Fiji to enhance their preparedness. Kritika Kumar, FBC News.
The Tertiary Education Loan Scheme Board will not offer scholarships for studying overseas in 2021. Chief Executive Bobby Maharaj says due to the COVID-19 pandemic and related travel restrictions in place, all national topper scholarships are only available for studies locally. The TSLB gives 600 scholarships under this scheme every year.
In the last 2 years, we had 20 scholarships that we were giving for overseas studies. But due to these restrictions in terms of border controls and so forth, we have decided to suspend the National Toppers Overseas Scholarship Scheme for 2021. So we got 600 NTS local scholarships distributed in 10 categories.
The 10 categories include technology, infrastructure, education, social science, agriculture, town and country planning, commerce and diplomas and certificates in special areas. Parents, guardians and old scholars of Ratukandavu Level School are putting together a strategic plan that entails their support towards the school's vision and mission. With the approval of the Ministry of Education, the Parents, Teachers and Guardians Association held a workshop in Lambasa yesterday to gather views of parents and old scholars in Vanua Level. Eleanor Tarangai View has more.
For the first time in the history of Ratukandavu Level School, parents and ex-scholars are putting together a 4-year plan that will help improve the school in terms of its academic, sports and boarding programs.
We are trying to make it as inclusive as possible. From the first one done at RKS Hall on the 6th of November. For this one we're taking out to the north, in which the consultation was held today. Next week we'll be speaking to the stakeholders of RKS in the west.
Discussions at the consultation workshop in Lambasa yesterday centered around identifying existing problems in the school and finding ways to address these through the support of stakeholders.
Concern is there as an old scholar of RKS and also as a parent. What's happened in the school is something that they hold close to heart.
The draft plan will go through the school and the Ministry of Education before it is finalized and implemented.
We are hoping that through this we will take RKS back up to the level it was once known for.
Parents of current students and old scholars in the West are urged to come out in numbers and share their concerns and views on the strategic plan next weekend. Eleanor Turangabio, FBC News.
Never start a business to make money. You start a business to make a difference in people's lives. The sentiment rings true for Netani Ndavere, an entrepreneur in the Lao province who has been successfully running a canteen in Vatoa village for over a decade now. Josai Nanunga with Ndavere's success story.
Netani Ndavere believes the mindset of Fijians in rural and maritime zones needs to change so they can become competitive in the business arena. Anyone can run a business of any form. It got to do with the right mindset, a positive attitude, and being honest in the daily operations of the business. At times, some people in villages say that business is only fit for those in urban centers, which is not true. Anyone, whether is a secondary or primary school leaver, can operate his or her business. This canteen has been in operation for the past 50 years, serving about 120 Vatoa villages. It has been a challenging journey, ensuring that the business stays afloat, especially during these trying times. The canteen has brought relief to the villagers as they don't have to waste money to travel and buy items from shops in neighboring islands. He currently employs 2 villagers who man the daily operations of the canteen. I was the only one looking after the canteen when it first started with the selected opening hours. Over the years, the demand picked up, and that's where I realized the business need to be fully operational. Hence, I carefully selected 2 other villagers who assist me. Ndavere says groceries are supplied to the island once a month, and that has been a challenge for them. At times, the canteen runs out of stock waiting for the next shipment that comes once a month. We are planning to increase the stock volume to cater for the increasing demand from villagers. The 60-year-old says the maximum monthly profit is around $2,000, and he now plans to expand the business. Josai Nanunga, FBC News.
And coming up in sports, Fiji FA to decide on abandoned match. And police crowned Vodafone Cup champions. This and more after the break.
Bula natang ko aprosa ng karse, go erkraki, do televizyon na parang na Radio Fiji 1, nandomo ibit.
Radio Fiji 1, nandomo ibit.
The Lambasa Town Council will do everything that they can to get Subrel Park back in shape for next weekend's Vodafone Fiji FAC semi-finals and final. After an urgent meeting this morning, the Fiji Football Association decided to postpone today's semi-finals to next weekend due to the unplayable ground conditions. Karolaini Tavi has more.
The Fiji FA has booked Subrel Park for next weekend. However, the decision will be made after reviewing the weather condition.
This is an early notice to the fans who will be traveling to the ground, and I want the media to notify immediately. Please don't travel this weekend. We will notify in coming week, that is by Monday or Tuesday, to make a decision whether we'll continue with the tournament in Lambasa.
Yesterday, the Lambasa Town Council did everything they could to get the ground back to its playable state after Nandi and Rewa played one half of their semi-final. However, the Fiji FA says if the weather still doesn't improve, they'll have to make another decision.
And we have booked the ground with Lambasa Town Council, but all further details will be given afterwards after we look at the weather in the coming week.
The Lambasa Town Council will now hope for the best in the next week.
We're going to have a look at how we can fix it. There are certain areas which is waterlogged, and the reason is because the way the grounds are. You see, if you had at an angle or with a proper gradient, you won't face this problem.
Colley is hoping Mother Nature will be on their side, as it's not only football fans that's benefiting from the tournament.
Fiji football is on the same page as well. They will do everything possible to have the game back here. Fans deserve it, people are looking forward to it, and Lambasa is in the semi-finals. So yes, we look forward to having the games here.
Meanwhile, fans who have bought Day 5 and 6 tickets can use them next week. Karleni Tavi, FBC Sports.
The Savo football side won the Fiji FA President Cup in Wailevu today. Savo beat Ndongo 5-4 on penalty kicks after the two teams were locked 1-1 at full-time. This is the first tournament of its kind for the senior division, and former national rep Tony Kambakoro, who is also the Savo FA President, says it's a good initiative.
I think this is a good opportunity for the premier teams. Getting involved with the tournament. Normally we're just going out there to watch the game, but now since we're involved, the boys are pretty happy, and it's good for football in the north.
A few members of the Fiji national men's 7 side have shown their interest to join the 15s team. These include Captain Ratumeli Ndernalangi, Daniela Sandrungu and Rusiate Nasove. Karleni Tavi has more.
With these heavyweights eager to join the 15th circuit, Fiji Rugby High Performance Unit is now working to align both coasts to produce the best athletes to compete on the world stage.
We've got guys like Rusiati Nasove, we've got Sandrungu, we've got another guy, Captain Meli Ndernalangi, that have interest in playing 15s. So we will monitor them. There's obviously those priorities, but we're not working as separate programs. From the high performance, we're about creating the best athlete for both programs.
Sevens head coach Gareth Baber says Nasove is one player that has been on par during training.
One guy who blows me away is Rusi Nasove. I mean, every time I see him on a training field, he's like a machine. He just keeps going, and you do need players like that.
For Sandrungu, Baber is impressed with his work ethic on and off the field.
That he's impressed everybody, and you know, he's non-stop, isn't he? Certainly in 15s, and he has a great attitude to work. He has a great ability in the contact areas, as we say, to get in there and cause havoc. And I think latterly in the skipper, I saw him start to play with the ball in his hands and score some tries. And
Captain Meli Ndernalangi has recovered after an injury, and Baber is confident that he is one of the likely candidates for the Olympic squad. Karleni Tavi, FBC Sports.
Blue Gas Police Sharks are the new champions of the Fiji National Rugby League Vodafone Cup. The team defeated Coastline Brews 18-16 yesterday at Albert Park in Suva. Karleni Tavi again with the story.
It was a back-and-forth match with both teams tied at 10-all at the breather. Police proved a better side of the two, maintaining consistency throughout the match.
People trust in the horses, in the chariots, others trust in the horses. But we, the police sharks, we trust in the Lord our God. Firstly, we would like to thank the Lord for His guidance for this season. We had a tough season. The boys went through a very tough season through this FNRL competition.
The determined Roos side bounced back in the second half as they led 16-12 minutes before full time. A last-minute try from Police's Moses Rova tied the score at 16-all at the final whistle. It was Timothy Namatukula who booted the Police to victory during the extra time, and the win was dedicated to the wives and children of the players of the Police team.
We believe as a team that nothing can work when there's unity. God will come and bless you. Today, we would like to thank all the supporters. We would like to thank all the police officers. And we would like to dedicate this win to all our
thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.
the women and children.
Police has now shifted its focus to the upcoming Ratu Sukuna Bowl with players like Filippo Tale, Apenisa Tanasau and Michaeli Peters expected to feature for them. Karleni Tavi, FBC Sports.
The All Blacks have sealed a 38-0 bonus point win over Argentina at last night's Tri-Nations test in Newcastle. Replacement back Will Jordan led the way with a brace of 5-pointers, and the other tries were scored by Dane Coles, Adi Sever and Patrick Tuipolotu, while Richie Mo'unga finished with a 13-point haul courtesy of 5 conversions and a penalty. Tamavua Celtics will be out to stamp their mark in the ongoing Digicel Silver Volleyball League competition. Back to court after a few years, the Celtics are tagging themselves as underdogs. Club Secretary Alipate Tumberi says they were once the top team in the Silver Volleyball Association and want to return to that status.
The main objective is to get the exposure and also to try and give a good challenge to all these dominating teams in the Silver Volleyball competitions.
And weather generally fine conditions prevail throughout the country today. A quick look at the weather map in the west. Mostly sunny with breezy conditions in the afternoon. Eastwards from Pacific Harbour to Suva, it was pleasant conditions with intervals of clouds and sunshine. We also had a gorgeous sunset. And up north, cloudy and humid with some showers late in the afternoon. At sea, moderate southerly winds, fresh at times, moderate to rough seas. And turning to the tides, the next high tide is at 8:03, followed by low tide at 2:26 tomorrow morning. Sunrise is at 6:21. Now for tomorrow, expect cloudy with some showers over the eastern parts and the interior of the larger islands. And our further outlook, we're looking further on to Tuesday. Fine conditions are to continue. And recapping the main stories for tonight, New Sudelpa leader plans way forward. PM sets record straight on native land. And Education Ministry sends replacement staff at QVS. For these stories and others, tune in daily to our sister radio station, Gold FM. Our poll question we're asking: should there be criminal charges on teachers using corporal punishment? Visit our FBC website to answer. And you can send us newsworthy pictures and videos to email fbcnews@fbc.com.fj, via Facebook page FBC News and our Twitter page at FBC_news or hashtag FBC News. That's your news for tonight. Until tomorrow from the team and I, have a safe and enjoyable new week ahead. Bye for now.
Bula FM number 2 NSR. Bula FM number 2 NSR.